Welcome back to another episode of On the Way podcast. Today we got Logan and Bashar here for Life Questions Part 2. I'm excited.
I'm excited as well.
I love this series. It's so much fun.
100%.
All right, so just a quick reminder, Bashar and I have prepared 2 questions each, and we don't know what they are, so it's kind of on the spot thinking, and they're kind of just life questions in general or things that we're wanting to ask each other.
Deep topics,
yeah, deep things. And then, have a quick little chat about each of them. And then, so again, it's on the spot thinking, so don't judge too much.
There you go.
Who wants to go first?
All right.
I'll go first.
Right, sure.
You ready to go?
I'm ready to answer, dude.
All right. Okay. My first question. So in life, I believe that everyone experiences at some point that they're an outcast towards society, that they're different and stuff like that. If you've experienced it or you've seen other people experience it, how have you been able to dealt with it, and what are the ways that you have dealt with it? Like finding distractions, improving yourself to fit in or not wanting to fit in? Like how has that been a play in your life?
So when you say outcast in society, you mean
just either been alone because you wanting to do something different, or just alone because you haven't found a group of friends like that or whatever. Like just generally, and not necessarily about you, but just generally about everyone in society. Like at some point, like I know at some point I felt like I've been an outcast, just been different or different part in life or whatever. But yeah, just how have you felt and dealt with that in life?
Well, I think I've experienced some, not loneliness. I don't say loneliness kind of depressed about it, but it's more like I've been pretty independent most of my life, right? Like, moving here to Canada and stuff, I started kindergarten not knowing a single word of English.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone, right, besides my family and stuff. So I think I've definitely been like kind of really independent person from the start, right? And so I don't think it's been very negative on me, right? Obviously, there's been some negative instances and there's been some positive, but I think starting at such a young age and stuff like that, it's really pushed me to kind of go out of my comfort zone and interact with people who I have no idea anything about, right? Like starting from such a young age at my elementary school and stuff, like I'd have to go out and make friends and stuff, right? So I don't think it's very negative. And I think the way I've dealt with it, obviously, like when I was younger, I'm just, a little kid, right? You just go, you make friends, you do everything that you do in your day, and then you kind of move on. But I think as I got older, as I transitioned to soccer and professional clubs and all that kind of stuff, right? And higher levels of school, then I think that's when it really hits you a lot more, right? You get to really pick who your friends are and stuff, and you are a lot more isolated in that sense. So I don't know. I know some people, like I know some of my friends who have experienced some loneliness and some independence and stuff, haven't been able to cope with it very much, and so it's had a negative toll on them. But I don't really like things getting to me too much, right? So I feel like I'm put in a situation where I'm like, if I move to a new school, right? Like I remember I did junior high school from kindergarten to grade 9 with the same class, right? So that's like 10 years pretty much.
Yeah.
Of like pretty much the same people. It was just a small junior high school. And everyone went to a different high school than one that I went to. And so that was, I think, a big moment in my life where I was really independent. I was coming to a high school, I didn't know anyone at all, right? My sister was already in a couple of grades ahead of me, but it's different, right? Like at the end of the day, you're still independent.
Especially in high school, like grade 10 versus grade 12. That's a big difference for sure. Yeah.
100%. And so I think that's really, I didn't let it get to me.
Yeah.
Right. And so the way I coped with it and stuff was I really just kind of hit it head on, and I tried to make it positive, right? I tried to get the best out of it. And so I put myself out there, I focused on my school, and I met new people. Obviously with the help of my sister, she made some friends as she was there, and like I got introduced to some of them and their brothers and stuff, and so all that. And then I think also reverting to sports has helped me a lot, because every sports team that you go on, whether it's an individual sport or more team-based, it really helps you meet people, interact, and create those bonds, right?
And people that have similar interests and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so like high school sports was a big thing for me. I was still in club soccer and track and all that stuff outside of school as well. So I was meeting people there, and shifting between different clubs helps you meet people too, right? So I think for me, the biggest coping mechanism was trying to keep a positive attitude, putting myself out there to make friends, to meet new people, to do things on my own and try to get used to having fun and being who I am on my own, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't be around people all the time, right? Like you can't, you're going to move to new places in the world. You're going to meet new people all the time. You're never going to be around the same people that you know all the time. So I think I didn't let it get to me, and I tried to make the best out of it, to be honest.
I think it's a good adversity to have, is to, throwing yourself in a new environment is, I think, one of the most healthy things you can do.
Definitely.
Yeah, like Definitely. It just it gives you a chance to reset the button and reset your past and move on from different things. And so I think there's definitely some positives, but I think there is quite a big difficulty in some people to cope with being an outcast in life and especially in high school or during school time type thing. It's a very hard thing to overcome. But was when you got into high school and not knowing anybody, was your main focus was to get into sports as fast as possible and then meet people that way, or were you just kind of on it for the ride, or were you kind of distancing yourself at first because you didn't know anybody, or how did that go?
Well, I think at first, I didn't jump into sports right away, obviously, right? So I didn't do every sport in high school. I tried to try out for as much as I could or whatever, but kind of soccer and track and field were my main focus, right? And so until those rolled around, I tried to do as much as I could, but I'm not gonna lie, right at the start, especially in grade 10, new high school, you don't know anyone and stuff. Obviously, I was a bit nervous, right?
Especially at that age too.
I didn't know how to interact with people as much and stuff, besides the friends that I've been with since kindergarten, right? So it was kind of hard, right? You have to meet people in your classes, you have to put yourself out there to talk to them and stuff, and it still happens to this day, right? So it was really slow. It was a slow process, but I think it turned out pretty well. I jumped between different friend groups and stuff, and I found that some people weren't really my type, right? And so it's not a bad thing. You just gotta experience different people, different sides of high school, I guess, in general, and just go from there. So I just took it slow. Was a bit nerve-wracking at the beginning, but
for sure,
as time goes on, honestly, you get used to it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
My turn?
Your turn, buddy.
Awesome, dude. All right, here we go. So my question for you is, how have you dealt with negative experiences or negative critique and negative comments onto yourself, and how has that influenced your character development within your life? Could be anything. Could be sports, life, school, whatever.
For me, I found that my whole life has been generally based around athletics. And so most things that are negative are either from athletics or being influenced from athletics. But I think as time went on and I got older and experienced more and et cetera like that, I think that I soon realized that, the negative thoughts are going to happen no matter what happens. And it could shift day to day. And I think that's just normal. And I think everyone experiences that, whether they expose it or not. I think that with athletics, I was, when I was 12, probably to 16, I had a lot of not sportsmanship issues, but I didn't like it when I did bad or something like that. I was very competitive. And I think that it kind of exposed me to not dealing with the negatives and learning from the negatives as well I probably should have been. But I think once I kind of got a little bit older, I learned to appreciate the negatives and, take them in and say, okay, well, yeah, this happened. It sucks, but what did I learn from it? And I think that was, once I started doing that, that became the biggest flip for me, was that, moping around and being sad about it or angry and stuff like that is fine. And it's important to take that time, but you can't do it for long, or else it's not very beneficial. If you're just moping around, saying, oh, this sucks. What did this happen? Oh, why did I do that or whatever? The longer you do that, the more it's just going to hurt you in the long run. And the faster you can flip it around and turn it into a learning lesson or constructive criticism or whatever, the faster you'll be able to move on and be happy again.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that, and I can relate to you in the sense of sports and that kind of mindset, right? Like I didn't take too well to failure as well, and I've experienced some pretty harsh coaches and stuff in my time in soccer and stuff, and they can really put you down, right? Whether it's words or just the way they treat you and stuff, and so like failure in general, whether someone sees you fail or not, just it hits you hard, right? But I think I really agree with you on your comment about as soon as you flick the switch and you tell yourself that failure is not something that should be putting me down, it's something I should learn from, and you go on from there, that's definitely when things get a lot better. Like that's something my family really advocated for me as well, like growing up and stuff, and that's really helped turn my personality around, and like it's boosted my confidence a lot. It's helped me really focus on, okay, something bad happened, that's okay. You know, that's just life. Bad stuff is always supposed to happen, but don't think that it's just a loss, right? Take it as a win and learn from it. Yeah. Right?
And that's exactly it. Like, it's just, like, as soon as I started doing that, it was 10 times better. Like, everything was flipped around and treated everything way better and moved on with way more out of it than if I would have been moping around and being upset about it. Like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, shit's going to happen. Like, it's just part of life, exactly like you said. Like, it's just, it is what it is. And, you know, like, one of the biggest experiences that were super negative for me in athletics, at least, is that I was in U16, and that year I podiumed every race except for 2, and the 2 is because I fell. And I didn't make the Canada team for this big international race. I made the Alberta team, which was great as well, but I wanted to make the Canada team that year, and you know, that was a super hurtful moment, because I was like, well, I deserve to be on that team, like I should be on that team and everything like that. But then, you know, within a day I was able to switch and I'm like, all right, they didn't put me on that team, well, I'm gonna prove that I should be on that team.
There you go.
And I tacked from the back on the Alberta team, which was lower than the Canadian team, whatever, like all this stuff, and attacked from the back, and then had great results and beat most of the guys on the Canadian team. And yeah, like, it was just, you know, I was able just to prove them wrong. And I think that kind of opened my mind to, you know, yes, things are going to be negative, so find a way to make it a positive, or try to force it to make it a positive, because it's the same thing in school, right? If you have a bad mark or a bad exam or something, well, then figure out why it happened, and then move on and try to make it better.
Yeah, there's no point in wasting time just spending energy on just, why did this happen to me? Like, why, God? Why is all this negative stuff happening to me, right? Like, part of it's your fault as well, right? And so I think you need to really tell yourself that, and tell yourself that, no, this is not a big of a deal. I just need to focus on what to do next time it's better, and then move on from there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, it's just,
And I just think it's really interesting to reflect on that kind of stuff, right?
It is. It's very healthy to do that, really.
Exactly. Like, looking back at I don't know how many years and thinking about the major failures and major lessons that you've learned in your life, and see how you've grown from them. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's hard to do at a younger age, because you don't really know why things are happening and everything like that. But I think once you kind of turn 18, like, to be able to do that on a daily basis, and, you know, realize that the bad things are going to happen, and then move on realistically quickly, I think it's a very important step that people need to take. And you know, adulthood is not fun, and life sucks, really, but you gotta make the best out of it. Exactly. And so challenging and moving forward is the best you can do.
100%. All right, dude. Second question.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. All right. So I've noticed, this is more of a personal question for you. Good. So I've noticed this summer you've indulged in a lot more new experiences and been trying new things outdoor and everything like that. I think a lot more than you have in the past. Yeah, which is awesome. And so I just want to dive in and see, like, those new experiences that you've done. What made you want to do that, and how have they affected your mood, your just general lifestyle? Like, with those new things added in, how has that changed everything for you?
That's a good question. I That's actually really nice to think about. Honestly, I don't reflect on like how I've grown and stuff as much as I should. But.
Why have you started doing all these new things? Is there a reason, or is it just the way the life has?
Well, to be honest, like I think in this past like couple of years, I've really seen myself grow a lot as a person, right? Whether it comes to school, my career choices, my life choices and stuff, and just kind of where I want myself to be and like who I am as a person, right? And so I think part of that really influenced me to push myself out of my comfort zone and really try new things as much as I can. And I'm not saying all this was independent, right? I've tried a ton of new things and stuff like that, and I've also been influenced by my family, my friends, and just other things that happened in my life, right? So, but a big part of it was just kind of the overlying decision that no, I am gonna try this new whatever it is, right? Yeah. So like to give you some examples and stuff, like I don't know. I know with COVID and stuff, it's forced a lot of people to do things with their families and on their own and everything like that, right? So my family personally, we've taken up dirt biking. Nice. And so like that's been a huge part of my character development and like my like outdoor kind of adventurous type of personality, right? Like I would have never thought of myself like doing dirt biking, right? Like I've seen it all the time.
Yeah, it's an intense thing to take up, right?
It is crazy, right? Dude. Like actually doing it is one thing, and then seeing it online is another thing, right? Like I don't know, it's just amazing, man. Honestly, it's helped me grow so much in terms of like how to assess safety and stuff, and like really like it's really helped like kind of open my mind to say that there's actually activities out there, no matter how intimidating they may seem, there's some fun stuff you can do, right? And like it's so healthy. Like it was just such a good time to go with me, my dad, and my brother and stuff, and just take these dirt bikes and get going, man. Exactly. Like teaching my sister how to do it, and just we're going with my cousins, how to dirt bike and stuff. We take them when we go camping now and stuff, and it's just such a good experience where you challenge yourself each time, and like I've fallen a couple of times and stuff. It's been had some close calls and everything, but like that's just part of the stuff, right? Like you have to. There's a lot of caution you have to take with, especially with sports like that. But like that's one example of a major activity I've taken up. A lot of hiking and stuff I've done as well, and I think like a lot of like working out and stuff, and like fitness has been a huge part of my life now, especially like, and that's been influenced by you guys, you and my friends and everything like that, right? And so like I think just little experiences and take initiative to really push yourself out there and try new things like that has really helped me develop as a person and helped open my mind out to what's out there and what I could do next, right? And another huge thing that's really helped me develop, and that's been a huge part of my life right now, was my decision to transfer universities, right? So like I'm at the University of Calgary taking undergrad for architecture because they don't offer architecture as an undergrad there, and because I know I want to be an architect, but my decision to transfer to a different university, right? I've applied to the 2 top architecture schools in all of Canada, right? And I would have never, like going into university, I was really skeptical. I was like, is architecture my thing? Like, I don't know if I'm doing something right. Like, are there different options and stuff? My family was struggling to help me, right? And like, I was struggling to kind of find my footing. But I think really just putting yourself out there, picking up a book or like reading on different things in your life and trying to learn as much as you can and experience like new things as much as you can really helped me like gain the confidence and learn about who I am and what I want to do with my life, right? Talking to people in the profession, everything. And like, I would have never gone out and like talk to other people and stuff. I was more of an introvert and stuff, but now I'm developing more personality to go and like, if I want to make a decision in my life and if I want to try something new in my life, I need to gather as much information. How do I do that? I can't just sit at home and hope for it to come to me, right? I have to go out, talk to people, ask questions, read on stuff, experience things, right? Whether it's like physical activity or it's educational, right? And so like that was a huge part of what influenced me and my decision to stay in architecture and stuff. And I got accepted, right? I got accepted to one of the best architecture schools in Canada. And so like that's just really been one of the biggest pivotal moments in my life. And I think like once I actually transfer and things get going, like it's going to be such a good experience to look back on and like learn from. So pretty much to kind of generalize your question, like honestly, I think I think it's been really important to put myself out there, and I guess it has been a bit more of a spontaneous kind of thing, but it also stems from your question earlier about like how do you reflect on different things, right? I haven't always had the best experiences with trying new things and everything like that, and so when I reflect on myself and I say this is not the person I want to be,
yeah,
that's really helped me go and strive for trying new things. To be honest, so that's my answer to the question.
Excellent.
Yes, sir. All right, time for my last one.
There we go. Question 2.
Okay, my question for you is, what was your first taste of success, and how has that influenced your life and your behavior? Yeah, take a moment to think about it. That's definitely a hard one, eh?
I think it's kind of weird, but the way that I think I see success isn't necessarily from like an award or like a win or something like that. I think I see success as improvement, whether it's based off of a negative or based off of a positive. And so I think that, again, based off athletics, as athletics is pretty much the whole life right now.
Yeah.
The wins have always, and the success has always been based off of hard work, I think. Knowing that, I was able to achieve success based on how hard I worked. Because even if I didn't necessarily perform or get the win or the success I previously wanted, I knew that the hard work that I put in was just as valuable as a medal or something like that. And so in athletics, like from pretty much second year 14, so yeah, kind of 13, 14 years old till now, like hard work has been my number one goal and driving force. Knowing that if I put in the hard work in the off season and going into the season, that eventually it'll catch up to me and pay off and give me success type thing. And so I'm not sure if I'm able to pinpoint an exact the first success, because there's walking, and then there's like that's a success, and then there's all these other things that are awesome. But the most meaningful things is just knowing that I put in the hard work and then it's finally paid off. Like that, for me, that is the most satisfying thing ever. Like there's been workouts for sure that I'm puking on the side between the 2-minute rest between the sprints, or I cramp in between the sets of squats or something like that. Like a blackout after the workout. Like there's so many of those little experiences where I'm like, yeah, that sucks. Like that's not very good. But then later in the season, it pays off. You win races, you win you win titles, whatever. You get scholarships somewhere, right? Like, and knowing that the hard work has paid off, that's the number one. That's the biggest kind of success I think I've ever experienced. Is just knowing that the hard work gave me this, and it wasn't just given to me type thing. I think that, and that's the way I approach my life right now. Is that I know that I'm not going to get what I want in life unless I work extremely hard, and debatably harder than the guy sitting next to me.
Exactly.
Right? Like there's always going to be someone ahead of you, and there's always going to be someone behind you. But it's if you can outbeat them, outwork them, right? Like The Rock always says, he says like, you can walk into any room or any gym, I will always be the hardest working guy in the room. Right? And for me, that just sinks in right away. It's like, damn, like this guy's worth like $300 million, and like he can do whatever he wants, and like, one of the highest paid actors and everything like that. But yeah, like he's also up at 4 o'clock in the morning, does three hours of working out, eats a massive breakfast or whatever, and then goes to work and has a blast and lives the life he wants, right? But he's working the hardest.
Exactly.
Right, and that's the thing, is like all these big people and very successful people will say exactly the same thing. It's all about hard work and commitment. And so, yeah, again, back to the success, it's like they're successful because they put in the hard work.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
That's a huge thing, honestly. Yeah, and I agree with you that 100%. Like, I don't think, when I answer that question, I don't know if I expected an answer, like, in terms of an actual experience, right? Because, like, like you said, it's not a bad thing to have that as like your answer to that question, or to have multiple different successes in your life be like the pinnacle moment of your life, right? So like I completely agree with you on that, and to be honest, like I 100% relate to the fact that like there's people out there, like I guess for your instance in sports and stuff, right? You're always pushing to a higher goal. You're always pushing to better yourself and to catch up to the people ahead of you, and to stay away from the people behind you, bro. Because the people behind you are just as hungry as you are, and they're looking to get there, man. So you just can't let them.
And that's in life too, you know. Like university programs are competitive. There's always someone that's
100%.
that's going for that 4.0 and trying to do as many volunteer hours and this and that and this and that, and they're trying to compete with you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I think I've actually thought of one like super meaningful success.
Go ahead.
So in my first year U16, so I was 14, 15 type thing, I had a horrible year. I was horrible. I didn't make any of the teams, the elective teams. I didn't really podium any years. I had a horrible year. And my coach that year, he told me that it was the last race of the year type thing, and I shit the bed, and I was doing horrible. Like I was down in the grave, and I wanted to quit pretty much. And he kind of told me, he's like, Logan, this year we're building the cake up. We're building it up. We're building up the layers. We're building the 7-layer cakes. We're getting your technique down. We're building the mental, everything. And next year we're gonna come back and eat that cake together. And then the next season, exactly that. I won every single race, or I podiumed every single race except for the 2 I fell. And then won the overall title in Alberta. I did great at nationals. Like I won a scholarship through Alberta Alpine. Like I had an amazing year and an unbeatable year. Like it was incredible. But he was right? Like it was the process and the hard work that next summer. Because that next October, I was doing 200-meter sprints and blacking out on the 10th corner after doing 10 reps, right? Like that year going in, it was just hard work all summer. And it was the mentality of that. It was, if I work hard now, it's going to happen. And it did happen.
Exactly.
And from now on, it was that switch that was, if I work hard, it's going to come.
That's such a good example. Bro.
It's crazy.
That was so good to hear. Honestly,
it's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. All right.
Well, I'm glad we were able to do this. And
that was good.
Yeah,
I had a good time reflecting. I think it's really healthy.
So part 2 is now done. Perfect. Part 1 is on Spotify and YouTube. And look out for part 3 later this month. It's
with Mr. Fatty.
Coming up with Fatty. Exactly. And we'll be continuing this mini series of life questions in the near future.
Sounds good.
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Thanks for watching On The Way podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Take care.